Alright guys, BLM here, back with a new video. In this video, I'll be doing a ranking of every piece of media I have personally experienced within the Kingdom Hearts series. Now this will be kind of a weird list, as I'll essentially be doing two lists at the same time. As I said, I'll be ranking every piece of media within the Kingdom Hearts series that I've experienced, which essentially includes everything within the 1.5, 2.5, and 2.8 collections, plus Kingdom Hearts 3, and then also Remind. However, I've only actually played, obviously, the games that are playable within those collections, and I have not actually played Remind for myself. So while I will be ranking all these things, there will also be a separate list for the games that I've actually played that will also be going through while we do this ranking. So while this will include, as I said, Remind, the 358 over 2 days, Recoded, and Keyback cover movies, they will be on this list, but they will be ranked more so on how I feel like I enjoy them as part of the Kingdom Hearts franchise. But at the same time, we'll also be having the ranking of the actual games that I've played as well, which are 7 games, which are Kingdom Hearts 1, Rechain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts 2, Birth by Sleep, Dream Drop Distance, 0.2, and Kingdom Hearts 3. So I know that might be a bit confusing, but that's the way I've decided to structure this video. So essentially, we're still going to be going and starting off from number 11, but as we move forward and talk about the actual games on the list, I'll also mention where they rank as a game overall. And because of all this, I will not be including the browser games or the mobile games in the Kingdom Hearts series, as again, I've personally not experienced those. So we'll start off the list here with number 11. At number 11, we have what I consider the most pointless piece of media within the Kingdom Hearts series that I've personally experienced, and that is Kingdom Hearts Recoded, which obviously I'm talking about the movie version of the game. Obviously, this was originally a DS game, though actually technically before that it was actually coded, which was a mobile game. It was remade for DS, and now on PS4 it is available as a movie. But as I said, I don't particularly care for Recoded. It's pretty pointless. A lot of it is just backtracking to data versions of worlds that were already explored within Kingdom Hearts 1. And within the context of what the original game was, it makes sense that they would do that. But as a piece of the overall Kingdom Hearts franchise, it doesn't really move the story forward. The only thing that's somewhat important to know here is that this is kind of this setup for what happens in the final scene of Kingdom Hearts 2. And it also kind of brings up the overall premise of what's going to be happening in Dream Drop Distance, and eventually Kingdom Hearts 3 with Sora having to bring back the 358 over 2 days group and the Birth by Sleep group. But outside of that, it really is a pointless piece of media for me. So because of that, it ranks at the bottom here at number 11. Now number 10, we're going to have the first game on the list, kinda. So through that, it kind of ranks here at number 7. When it comes to the overall game list, it is at the bottom of the game list. It's not bad, and that is 0.2, a fragmentary passage, and I like 0.2. The problem is that it's super short, and there's not really much to it. I mean, you obviously play as Aqua. It's technically a demo for Kingdom Hearts 3. I mean, from what I understand, it was actually supposed to actually be the prologue to Kingdom Hearts 3, but then they cut it out of the game, and I feel like that was probably the right decision. It doesn't really fit within Kingdom Hearts 3. I mean, it would have felt weird to play as Aqua for the first hour for almost no real reason. But I mean, I don't mind 0.2. I'm from a basic gameplay standpoint. I mean, it's Kingdom Hearts 3, just in the world of darkness, playing as Aqua. And there's some cool environments. I do like what they did narratively with connecting Aqua's story to Kingdom Hearts 1. I really like that. Don't mind 0.2. It's definitely not a bad game. It's just, there's not much to it. And because that has the rank here at number 7. For the overall games, or number 10 in the grand scheme of this list. Now we're number 9. At number 9, we have another movie. And this one was actually a movie, and that is Keyback Cover. And I really like Keyback Cover as well. I mean, overall, as a piece of lore, I find this movie really incredible. I mean, I am someone that hasn't played Union Key, though through some research, I do have a general sense of what happens there. But I feel like Keyback Cover is probably one of the most interesting world building and lore building pieces of media within the franchise. However, I feel like if you take it on its own right for what it is, looking at it as a movie, I don't feel like it really succeeds that much. It doesn't really tell a full story. It doesn't really have a solid beginning, middle, and end. It mostly just feels like a lore dump in the sense that it tells us the story of the foretellers and what their roles are and what the Masters was doing, and exposition for things that are going to happen later on in the series, things that haven't happened yet, and things that I'm actually personally really excited for. And that's something I do give this movie credit for. However, as a piece of media on its own, it just feels incomplete to me. And that's a lot of the reason why it's here at number 9. Now number 8, we're back to a game. So really this is, again, number 6 on the official list. We're at a game that I actually did not finish. I mean, out of all the Kingdom Hearts games that I played, the 7 will be ranking here. I did not finish 2 of them. Mind you, the other one I did not finish. I got at least to the final boss. This one I didn't even get, halfway. And that is Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories, which is obviously a remake of Chain of Memories. I haven't played Chain of Memories, but I've played Rechain of Memories. And Chain of Memories is something I do respect from a narrative perspective. I mean, obviously it does add to the lore of Kingdom Hearts. I mean, that's something that we'll talk about when we talk about Kingdom Hearts 1, but I do feel like Kingdom Hearts 1 is very restricted in its storytelling, and I feel like Rechain of Memories is kind of the start of Kingdom Hearts being what I love from Kingdom Hearts. I love what they did with Castle Oblivion and introducing Organization 13. I think gameplay-wise, I know a lot of people really bash on this game, but I personally like the card combat system. I think it's a really interesting real-time system to use. I mean, obviously, it leads to a lot of frustration, especially the time mechanic, because that's a lot of the reason why I stopped playing the game after the Vexen fight. Actually, during the Vexen fight, I should say, because the Vexen fight sucks. I just got so frustrated. I got stuck on it for about 3 hours, and I just said, screw it, I don't care enough. So I watched the rest of it online. It's obviously just a setup for Kingdom Hearts 2, and on its own right, it's not really my favorite story in the franchise anyway, so mixing that in with the fact that I didn't even finish the game, it has the rank this low here at number 8, or I guess number 6 if you're going by the games. Now number 7, and this might be a controversial opinion, and this is another game, so this is technically number 5 on the list. And here we have Kingdom Hearts 1. I've said this in the past, I've never been that big of a fan of Kingdom Hearts 1. Kingdom Hearts 1 is actually the game in the franchise I've played the most. I tried to play Kingdom Hearts back in the day, just really couldn't get into it. And then more recently, when I picked up the 1.5 plus 2.5 collection initially, I tried to play Kingdom Hearts 1 again, and still just couldn't get into it. And it wasn't until I gave it a 3rd try that I finally got to the end of the game and decided, you know what, screw it, we'll move on with the series anyway. And that's when I started to really enjoy the series a lot more. I don't love Kingdom Hearts 1. I mean, gameplay-wise, it's fine. I mean, obviously, there's clunkiness there. It's an older PS2 game. What do you expect? But even beyond that, I just never really attached to the Disney worlds in Kingdom Hearts. I mean, that's something I've mentioned before as well, is that really the Disney stuff for Kingdom Hearts is my least favorite aspect of Kingdom Hearts. I know it's a lot of people's favorite aspect, and that's a lot of the reason why Kingdom Hearts is as big as it is because of all these Disney characters. But for me, it's stuff I don't care about. I mean, I'm someone that loved shonen as a kid, and that's a lot of the reason I connect with Kingdom Hearts is because of the shonen elements within it. Disney elements don't really connect with me, especially when we're going into a lot of these worlds that don't end up mattering. That's the thing with Kingdom Hearts 2 is that a lot of the Disney worlds don't really add anything to the overall narrative, and I just find those sections just really slow, and I just try to get through them as quickly as possible so I can get to the meat and bones of the story. Kingdom Hearts 1 just feels so separate from the other games. I mean, it doesn't really feel like they had a plan when doing Kingdom Hearts 1. I'm 100% sure they had no plan during Kingdom Hearts 1. I think that's why, as I said, Rechain of Memories is kind of the start of when the narrative starts expanding, because I feel like during Kingdom Hearts 1, they didn't know what they were doing. But as I said, Kingdom Hearts 1 is actually another game that I never finished, and a lot of the reason for that is because of the Ansem fight. I got to the very end of the game, I got to the final Ansem fight, and I just could not do it. And I died, I had to go way back, and I was like, you know, I don't want to do this. Why am I doing this fight just to see this final cutscene? I don't care enough. Especially where I was at this point in the Kingdom Hearts series. Again, if it was now where I'm more invested in Kingdom Hearts series as a whole, I probably would have tried to finish it. But at this point, I wasn't loving Kingdom Hearts 1. I never really connected to the game, so I felt okay just letting it go. That being said, I do think it's a more polished game than Rechain of Memories. I think it's just simply a better game than Rechain of Memories. It's a bigger game. I think Ansem is a great villain. I mean, I think there's great things within this. So it's enough to rank it here at number 7 or number 5 when it comes to the games. Now number 6, we're back to something I have not personally played, and this is actually not a movie, but it is a DLC. It is Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind. I did debate over whether or not to even include this on the list, as it is, again, a DLC, but I kind of considered it its own separate piece of Kingdom Hearts, as if we're considering 0.2, its own individual game, I might as well include Remind, Now, as I said, I have not played Remind for myself. I've actually only watched Let's Plays of Remind, and I've watched multiple Let's Plays of Remind, mind you. But again, I have not played it for myself, so that's why I don't feel comfortable putting it on the actual game list itself. But I am so intrigued by Remind, and to be honest, this is kind of what made me want to make this video, is what made me still connect to the Kingdom Hearts series as long as I have, is I'm just so intrigued with what they set up in Remind and what they're going to do moving forward. From what I've watched gameplay-wise, I think Remind just kind of I mean, a lot of it's just redoing things that were already done in the ending of Kingdom Hearts 3. The data battles are things that really just don't interest me. And fighting Yozora in a really brutal boss battle is just, again, not really my thing. And that's a lot of the reason why I haven't picked it up for myself and played it for myself. However, again, narratively, I think it's really fascinating to see what they're going to do with Yozora, what they're going to do with Sora, what they're going to do with all these characters. The Birth by Sleep crew, Riku, what is he going to do? Like, I'm just so intrigued with where this narrative is going, and all of that stuff is set up in Remind. Like, from the ending of Kingdom Hearts 3, I mean, obviously outside the post-credit scenes, it felt like the narrative was done. It felt like there wasn't that much more road ahead. I mean, obviously we got the setup for the Master stuff and the foretellers, but there wasn't really that much to go off there. But here, in Remind, I feel like it's just so interesting to see what they're going to do with these parallels from Final Fantasy Versus 13, and it's really reinvigorated my love for the franchise. So for me, I feel like it's enough to rank it here at number 6. Now, number 5, we actually have the last non-game on the list, and that is 358 Over 2 Days. I mean, this was obviously a game, it's just I haven't played the game. I've only watched the PS4 movie, and I mean, I think this is just a great story. I really love the characters within this. I love Roxas, I love Axel, I love Xion. I mean, I think the relationship between Roxas and Axel is just fantastic in this game. And I think it's a lot of what makes Axel as great of a character as he is. I love seeing what happened to Roxas before the events of Kingdom Hearts 2, learning more about the organization. Overall, this is just such a satisfying story, especially by the time this story pays off in Kingdom Hearts 3. It just felt so satisfying. And I am actually interested in eventually getting around to playing the game for myself on the DS, but I'll have to be for down the road. But for now on the list, I felt like its narrative was strong enough that it's easily the best narratively out of these games that I haven't personally experienced. So it's here for me at number 5. Now, number 4, I have Dream Drop Distance. And this was tough. I think number 3 and 4 for me were both very, very close. I went with Dream Drop Distance here because at the end of the day, Dream Drop Distance is a pretty small-scaled game. I mean, the entire game takes place around Riku and Sora's mastery exam, and like the worlds in this game are all kind of just pretty mediocre as a whole. I mean, it does use the command deck system, which I don't personally mind, but I do understand the flaws with it. But that being said, I do think this is the perfect predecessor to Kingdom Hearts 3. I think narratively, it sets up Kingdom Hearts 3 in such a perfect way, giving us more info about Xehanort, giving us like a short confrontation with him at the very end of the game, find out his actual plan that obviously he tries to enact within Kingdom Hearts 3. So narratively, I do think this is one of the most important games in the franchise. And to be honest, it's probably even more important than Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 to play before playing Kingdom Hearts 3. I mean, I really do feel like it's that important. And even then, as I said, gameplay-wise, I didn't mind it. I don't mind the command deck system. I had fun just spamming all the fire spells, and there's some set pieces, especially towards the end of the game, that are pretty cool. Some decent boss battles. I do like Dream Drop Distance as a whole. But again, it is definitely a smaller scaled game than that of the next 3 that we'll be talking about. So because of that, I felt like it was appropriate to leave it here at number 4. Now number 3, and this is probably going to be another unpopular opinion because I know this is a lot of people's number 1. But for me, number 3 has to be Kingdom Hearts 2. And I loved Kingdom Hearts 2. It's the game that made me continue on with the series because, as I said, like, I didn't finish Kingdom Hearts 1. I didn't finish Rechain of Memories. Kingdom Hearts 2 is the first Kingdom Hearts game I finished. And I really just loved my time of the game. Obviously, it expands upon Kingdom Hearts 1 in almost every single way. Again, using the setup from Rechain of Memories, I think this is also where the narrative really expands, where you learn about Xehanort, you learn more about the organization. There's obviously some really great set pieces in this game. And pretty much anything that happens in Radiant Garden is really great. I personally do enjoy the Roxas stuff now. I mean, it's funny because when I initially played as Roxas in the game, I was kind of like let down by it. I do think it went on for a bit too long, but I do think in retrospect, I really enjoy that section of the game a lot more, knowing the full context of what was going on during that time. I love the ending sections of the game, The World That Never Was. I think that section's great, where it's just boss battle after boss battle, but also like a lot of narrative stuff just going on during that time as well. I do find it ridiculous that you have to kill Xemnas like a billion times before they end the game, but outside that, I do think Xemnas is a great villain as well. Overall, I mean, I do think this is a great Kingdom Hearts game. There are a couple things that annoy me, though. I think having to visit each Disney World twice seemed really, really redundant, especially because, as I said, I'm not a big fan of the Disney Worlds to begin with. But outside of that, I mean, I do overall enjoy Kingdom Hearts 2, but there's just two other games that, as time's gone on, I just really loved more. So for me, it has the rank here number 3. Now for number 2, and I'm surprised this game ranked as high as it is, as, I mean, it's one that I didn't particularly adore when playing it, but again, I think just as time has gone on, the more and more I think about this game, the more and more I really love it, and that is Birth by Sleep. While this game does essentially force you to play the game 3 times in a row before seeing the game's true ending, I actually enjoyed replaying the game. I mean, because each time you play the game, I mean, there are different scenarios that are happening, different narrative things are going on. Sometimes even you're in different locations within those worlds. And obviously playing as the 3 different characters, I thought were really great as well. I mean, I love Terra's playthrough. I love Aqua's playthrough. Ventus's was kind of but I mean, overall, I did have a lot of fun playing as these 3 characters, getting to know these 3 characters. I loved how all their storylines culminated in the Keyblade Graveyard. And I just love how this acts as a prequel to Kingdom Hearts 1. I love all the setup it does for Kingdom Hearts 3. I love the tragedy that we see with all these characters and where they end up. I loved all of these endings, and it really just felt so much like, I mean, really, these Star Wars prequels. I think that's something that's been compared to a lot, but really just the start of an epic narrative. And usually these epic narratives obviously start with a tragedy at the beginning that has to get rectified by the end. I feel like Birth by Sleep is that tragedy, and I just loved watching it. I also love how obviously this is where we first get to see Xehanort and we get more context around him. Like, overall, I mean, I just love Birth by Sleep. I've always said this before, I always love stories that end with the heroes losing, and that's essentially what Birth by Sleep is. So for me here, it ranks here at number 2. Now number 1, and I really can't believe this is number 1. I mean, I thought about this for a while, and I have to put it at number 1, even though I know people won't agree, but for me, number 1 has to be Kingdom Hearts 3. And the thing about Kingdom Hearts 3 is that it has the highest highs out of any Kingdom Hearts game for me, bar none. I think pretty much everything from the point that you go to Destiny Islands, like from that point on, everything there is masterful. I think it's just such an epic conclusion to the Xehanort saga. Seeing all these fights that we've been waiting for a while, seeing all these characters reunite that we've been waiting for. I mean, the reunion of the Birth by Sleep crew and the 358 over 2 days crew was just incredible to watch. That 3-way fight between young Xehanort, Ansem, and Xemnas was just an incredible boss battle. Finally facing off against Xehanort is really great. The moment where Aqua returns from the darkness, that's one of my favorite moments in quite possibly all of gaming. I adore so many sections in that back part of the game. The problem, though, is I will say that Disney Worlds aren't my favorite. Again, they are completely pointless narratively, and that is a problem that I have. But at the same time, I do think at least gameplay-wise, I do think the Disney Worlds in this game are far and way better than the ones from the previous games. Visually, all the worlds look really great, and I will say I like the combat system of Kingdom Hearts 3. It just feels like it flows a lot better than the previous games to me. I enjoy that you can easily change forms, you can easily do finishers, though, I mean, I will say it adds a bit of RNG to the game, but overall, for a casual playthrough, I do think it's fine. I mean, overall, like, just Kingdom Hearts 3, I just really adored. I mean, I really just adored, again, that back forth of the game is the best, like, 6-7 hour stretch I've ever had in all of gaming. And for me, that's enough to put Kingdom Hearts 3 here at number 1. So there we go. That is my ranking for every game in the Kingdom Hearts series. I know you probably won't agree with my rankings, but that's fine. But yeah, this feels like kind of a culmination of my experience with the Kingdom Hearts franchise as a whole. Obviously, I did 2 videos in the past, both talking about me experiencing the Kingdom Hearts series for the first time. And when both those were done, obviously I plan on doing this video. And now that this is done, I don't really have a Kingdom Hearts video planned. And it feels like the end of a really long journey, my journey with Kingdom Hearts that I started, what, a year and a half ago now. But there we go. I mean, that is my ranking of every game in the Kingdom Hearts series that I've played at least. But for now, thank you for watching.